what are we looking at? The simple answer is, we don't know. Archaeologists know a great deal about Jerusalem, more than they know about most places on Earth. But even they don't know exactly what these strange, saucer-like depressions are, or who carved them into the bedrock about 6,000 years ago. What we do know is that these mysterious cup marks are the most ancient trace of a human presence in this city. So we'll start our journey into the history of Jerusalem, 12 stones, right here. When we think about ancient Jerusalem, many of us probably think about the time of the Roman Empire, of Jesus, about 2,000 years ago. Others might think of the time of King David, about 3,000 years ago. These are the characters and stories that make this city one of the most famous in the world. But the truth is that Jerusalem's history goes much farther back than that, beyond recorded history. At the very deepest layer of the city is a mystery. Let's peel away all of the possible layers of archaeology, past the riches of the Islamic period, past the Byzantines and Romans, past the Jewish prophets and kings, stopping only when we reach the first layer, the limestone bedrock. We can't go any deeper than this. Now we find ourselves in a place that is somewhat baffling. The stories of the Bible won't help us here. This truly ancient layer of Jerusalem is a place we know almost nothing about. We're standing in the oldest part of Jerusalem, a section known as the City of David. Human settlement in Jerusalem began here. Prehistoric residents leveled the rock and carved holes about 20 centimeters in diameter. In some places, the holes formed clusters of several close together. In other places, there's only one. What are they, and what were they for? No one knows. We also don't know exactly how old they are. It's clear that they're connected to some kind of agricultural or domestic activity, but we don't know if there were houses nearby. What we know is that someone, a prehistoric ancestor of ours, deliberately hollowed out these holes in the rock. The holes are pleasant to the touch and quite smooth inside. They weren't polished to look pretty, but by some kind of repetitive activity. Ancient stone mortars are polished inside in a similar way. So one hypothesis is that something was ground or rubbed in them, maybe grain, or perhaps they were used to crush olives to extract oil. Jerusalem's City of David isn't the only place where similar cup-shaped depressions have been found from prehistoric times. Similar ones have been found all over the world, from Italy to Azerbaijan and as far away as Australia. They're often dated to the Neolithic period, around 12,000 years ago. These ones, however, are thought to date to the Chalcolithic period, which is about 6,000 years ago, but still before the invention of writing and the beginning of recorded history. In this part of the world, this period is thought to have been a time of relative peace, as the only weapons we've found are symbolic cult objects which can't be used for real fighting. This is a time when people still used stone tools but were already beginning to work with bronze. There are several beautiful hoards of bronze implements from this time, for example, found in the Judean desert, south of Jerusalem. This culture had its own unique ceramics and its own distinctive ideas about art and design. No Chalcolithic buildings have been found in Jerusalem itself, but here and there, archaeologists have found Chalcolithic ceramics, and perhaps the mysterious cup marks are related to the same people. In general, we know absolutely nothing about them, only that they lived literally at the ground level of the city that we know. It's not clear why the first residents became attached to Jerusalem at all. There's just one spring here, and it doesn't yield much water. The landscape is hilly, and there are no wide areas for farmland. This narrow sausage of a valley sandwiched between two rivers, the Kidron and the Tyropeon, leaves very little space. If the humans here were grinding grain in these holes, we don't really know where they were growing it. All we know is that there was a small settlement here, and if that was the case, then people had food to eat and water close at hand. We think of Jerusalem as being the central settlement in this area, but at this time, 6,000 years ago, the truth is that there was a much more significant human community about 5 kilometers away. Today, this place is called Motza, and it's a suburb of the modern city of Jerusalem. At Motza, we know that there were several freshwater springs and also good clay soil for pottery. According to Stone Age specialists, as many as 2,000 to 3,000 people lived here. Jerusalem became important only later, it seems, and mainly because of religion. First, it became an important cult center, then the site of the Jewish temple, and then a place of religious importance for other peoples and faiths. It's this spiritual quality, rather than economics or other practical considerations, that made people return to Jerusalem again and again, rebuild and restore the city after all sorts of natural disasters, earthquakes, and wars. Over centuries and millennia, the city became the Jerusalem that fascinates us today, the subject of countless books, prophecies, and fantasies recorded in many different languages. But here, in the bedrock under the city, before the invention of written language, all we have is a mystery, an inexplicable human fingerprint, an opportunity to connect with the city's very first residents and to wonder what they were doing here 6,000 years ago when they left these traces in the stone.